Hey,
Oh
everyone.
no! Now, what do we do? Right?
We're live.
That was a big event.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the ARW Sunday discussion. I'm Billy, and I am filling in for Harold today. First part of this, we're going to talk a little bit about metrology and surface plates and what kind of setups you all do and what kind of things you do on your surface plate and that kind of stuff. Who wants to go first?
Don't everybody jump in at once.
I never take measurements. I don't have the time for it. So
I can. I set up a camera, Billy. I just switched over.
Oh.
Yep.
And I'll go over there and just show you guys what some of the stuff I have, and real quick. I gotta walk over there.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, hey, Dave made it. How's it going, Dave?
I'm hoping my mic.
Pretty good.
Oh, that's not good.
I'm feeling jealous already.
Bill, do you have this set up so that we can share screen, put a photo up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my shop's 80 feet that way and about 50 degrees colder right now.
That's my deal.
I saw some of that ice you were showing. That was quite a bit.
Pretty cold out there today.
That's old school
it looks
building
too
of the
clean.
East Coast. We don't run insulation.
No. He never uses it. You see, you can tell. He never uses it.
Anyway, I'll just run through some of the stuff I have at one of my new acquisitions.
Hello, Joe. It's Sierra Specialty.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
We can hear you, Randy.
My surface plate's a Precision Granite Company plate. I think Stanridge eventually owned them. It's an older plate, but I had Stanridge resurface it to AA a few years back. So it's in really good shape. It does have a chip in it. It's minor. It's a 2x3 plate. And I have a nice Square Master. It took me like 3 years to get one on eBay. They don't come up very often, but that's where I got mine. Actually, a very, very reasonable price, too. I have a angle Stanridge block, a granite block, as a standard to set your Square Master and stuff. It's only 6 inches tall.
Is that an eBay score, Randy?
The block?
Yeah.
No. I bought that brand new from Standard.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hello, Everett.
This is a squareness comparator type stand. This one Mutual made. He made 2 of them. One was for me.
That's cool.
I engraved them for him, so it has his logo and stuff on it. That's a little hard to see. This is really nice. He put a hardened curved edge on it, and I think that I'm not sure, not positive, but they might be carbide balls for feet. So he did a really nice job on that. This is just a Minatoyo. I think that was an eBay find, height gauge. It's 12 inches. I don't know. You guys know who Phil Smith is from Almost Machining?
Oh yeah,
Yep, he's watching.
Phil's watching. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Say hi, Phil.
So Phil came up a few weeks ago and visited and stuff, and we did some tool trading. I gave him a few things, and he gave me a few things. This is like brand new condition, 20.5-inch ground and sharp vertier. This thing is just beautiful.
That's nice.
And this is really, really nice. I also, and I use a standard surface gauge. This one's, I think this one's a standard. But this one came from my grandfather, actually. But I added the squareness disc in the front.
round bumper.
Yeah. These things are hardened, man. I had to grind that in there, that slot to put that in. But it came out really good and works good.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did you add that foot to it?
Yeah. Oh, well, what I did is I ground it in with a cutoff disc in the mill.
Wow.
and so I can precision grind it in. It's not very deep. It's only about 1/8 inch deep. It worked
Still,
out.
that's a lot hard work, man.
Yeah.
It came out perfect though. That's a press fit piece of stainless I put in there. This is a LVDT gauge, Bendix one. It's an older gauge, but it works actually pretty darn good. It probably needs overhaul, like new capacitors and things like that. But it does work, and it works well. And I have a couple of heads for it. That's pretty nice to be able to measure that accurately.
All right.
And
What do you have What do you have the plate setting on, Randy?
the plate is on the original stand. It's a frame, angle iron frame stand, but it was made for the plate, so it has 3 feet that it sits on. And I put a toolbox. I mounted a toolbox below it here, so it's just a 2-drawer Kennedy, which I have other metrology type stuff. 1, 2, 3 block. I keep a couple other things in here, but this is a Herman Schmidt grinding vise.
That's nice.
Yep, nobody wanted it. I got dirt cheap. I mean, literally dirt cheap on eBay. Somebody ground a little, I don't know, a little bit on here, a little groove off the top. So it's like a lip, but it's in perfect condition. I mean, I got it for like $100 or something.
Hey, Axby made it.
Wow.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
I keep this in here.
We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep this thing in here. This is a Suburban angle grinding vise also.
Ooh,
That's nice too.
yeah, all the nice things. The Don Bailey special there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just, I have other things too, but I just thought I'd show you these ones quick.
That's pretty cool, Randy.
Stand and, that sort of thing. This is a Toyo comparator stand, and I lapped the anvil for it, and had to make a knob and a few things for it. So this works really nice. That's just a few things I have.
That must be some defect in the Mitutoyo comparator stand, because I have one and I had to make new knobs for it too. The knobs just fall apart.
It's like almost like a wheelchair wheel rubber? Or is that, I've got a weird set that's like that gray wheelchair tire. And yeah, it just disintegrated on mine. I wasn't sure if it was Mitutoyo on that one, but
Yeah, no, mine's Mitutoyo and it's some hard plastic and it just broke.
oh, yeah.
So
No
I made
good.
all new knobs for it.
My headphone jack pulled out, so I missed some of the conversation there, you guys. So
Okay, we'll give you a chance.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, is your mic working? You were talking, but we weren't hearing you. No, still not hearing you.
Must be that long distance connection.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hey, we got
will
Australia
hear him
clean as
tomorrow.
day. We've
It's
got
no problem.
Belgium, but no England.
Yeah. So we just saw the pro setup. Do you want to see the amateur setup?
What a real home shop looks like.
Yeah.
Go for it, Dean.
Yeah.
We want to know.
So I've just been, starting out and just trying to accumulate stuff, just getting going essentially. And here's what I use, or just one of these 8x6. Essentially it's a comparator base, and surprisingly, you could do quite a bit of work with one of these. And I think I paid $5 for this at a sale, but I mean, you can get these. I'm guessing like $50 or even less than that. I think on eBay, shipped right to the house. And I've actually done a fair amount of decent work with it. So that's an
cheap.
option.
What size is that? It looks pretty big.
It's a 6 inch by 8 inch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it used to be a comparator stand. It's just missing the upright. Yeah, let's see, what's the brand? I think it's a Finn.
Oh, Finn, nice.
Yeah. And it's,
Well,
it's
wish I could find one.
yeah, and it was like $5.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And then the other thing I got, so last year at the Bash, there was a guy had a whole bunch of these little, they're like 1.125" thick plates. And these are, I think they're 12 by 11, something like that. And he was selling them for $20 each.
Yeah, I picked up 2 of those.
Yeah, I wish I would have grabbed a couple more.
I wish I did too.
Yeah, because when I got it home and checked it, the sucker's flat.
It is. They're good. I use it
Yeah.
to put sandpaper on, and if I want to do a quick lap and stuff.
Yeah. And then I got to show you this one because it's just too cute not to show. So I picked this up, probably a year or two ago at a German machinist. His son was selling out his shop, and I've never used it, but it's a itty bitty little Brown and Sharp surface gauge. It's just really
That's
cool.
cute.
Yeah.
That's
Ain't that cute?
Yeah, and basically it's never been used. It was still in the original wrapping, and of course I've opened it several times just to play with it.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at Home Shop Game, that thing's perfect for 90% of all of our projects.
Yeah, and that little plate, it fits on the little plate really nice.
Yeah, I think my mic's working now. Can you hear me?
Hey, you're live.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we hear you.
Yeah. Well, I made the mistake of upgrading to Windows 11, and
We're all gonna die.
it's not the right one. It wanted to use the mic on my webcam. So anyway, I managed to figure it out in the end.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
All right. I'm gonna yield back my time. I got some more stuff to show later on, but I'll let the next guy go.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump in. See if I can do this here without breaking anything. And let's see here. There we go.
Got it.
All right, so this is my little stupid setup right now, and I say stupid because it's pretty janky. I hadn't a clue what kind of surface plate that was, or that is. It was given to me when I picked up my Bridgeport. He just had it there, and it was a spare. I have no idea what the grade is of it or anything. In the background there, you can see that I have a 18-inch Mitutoyo digital height gauge that I picked up off of eBay. It's a little out of calibration. I need to send it off at some point in time. The higher it goes, a little more out sorts it gets. And then I've got the caliper stand, and in the bottom drawer of that toolbox, I have a few other things, some height comparator stands and height gauges and that kind of stuff. Recently picked up a set of 5 different sets of pin gauges. In my last video, I talked about it. All the way from 11th thou all the way up to 3/4 of an inch minus set pin gauges. And I'm going to have the woodworking guys make me a custom. I'm going to call it a toolbox. It's basically what it's going to be, but it's going to hold all the pin gauges in it in slide out shelves. And on the left-hand side is going to have a shelf for that height gauge to go in, and maybe 1 or 2 bottom drawers in it for other stuff like some 1, 2, 3 blocks and 2, 4, 6 blocks and various other stuff. I'd sent out an email to you guys asking what were your all's thoughts about putting a surface plate on top of a wooden structure like that, and most of you all said that you all don't move it around, or you keep it in one place. You prefer steel, but for what that size, it shouldn't hurt anything.
No.
So that's what I've got set up.
How old's that Craftsman box underneath there? That's a neat looking little unit.
It's pretty dang old. On top of it, it had a Kennedy toolbox along with the riser for the Kennedy. Unfortunately, the gentleman that previously owned it painted it all red, so that nice hammer tone finish on that Kennedy is all red, same as this Craftsman.
Yeah.
which was kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Where did you get the micrometer stand?
Amazon.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's
Is
an
it-
Amazon purchase. I bought that maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, pretty. Is it in a nice condition? Because I got the exact same one and it was a wreck.
Was it?
I stripped all the paint off of it, filed it down so it's relatively decent looking, and then repainted it.
No, it was fine. It was had no issues with it.
Yeah, no, it's a cast iron and it was bumpier than all get out.
That one's not cast iron. That one, I think that one's a cast aluminum or some sort of similar, but I don't think that's metal. I think or cast iron. I think it's an aluminum or some
Yeah.
other
Yeah, I
alloy.
think I picked mine up off of eBay. Can't remember. Yeah.
I have a Mitutoyo micrometer scan that looks identical to that.
Yeah, I think all of them look the exact same.
Yeah.
Everybody just puts their own name on it.
Now,
Yeah, pretty much.
mine's
Or-
pretty old, but it's nice. It looks great.
You know, you look at even punch formers, the Mitutoyo punch former, you know, little spinny fixture. There is an Asian import identical all the way down to the lettering, and the only thing it's missing is the Mitutoyo badge on top. It's almost like, you know, there was something in it that was a couple tenths out that didn't hit their quality standard, so off it went. And then, you know, this importer put it as a mid-level, and then there's, you know, lower down it goes. With a lot of that stuff, I feel like, I mean, yeah, that's just how it goes. But anyways, who else has got their shop open right now? Dave's in his.
Yeah, but my stuff's all over the place. I can't walk around with the laptop to show you. I did a video not too long ago because I always wind up lapping
mess.
the surface plate, which is a no-no. So I finally said, all right, enough's enough. And I ordered from Precision Granite a grade A, which is now one I use. The other one's over on the other bench, and I just have a blast lapping on it because I don't care.
Yeah,
I
my
like
place
to
just
make
sitting in the corner.
things
Go ahead.
myself, like I suppose everyone do.
Hello, Dennis.
So I made this one from cheap calipers, just a little block, squared the thing in place. I have a video on this one, so if you want to check it out. I think this is a very nice and easy little project. Now, of course, the jowl, if you call it a jowl, of the caliber is not original. This is a piece of high-speed steel that I welded on the plate and then just bolted it with two little screws. I don't know if it's visible. Yeah, you can see a little bit. So the point is high-speed steel, so it doesn't move. And even now we see Billy.
I was getting you up there.
And-
It's his first time. Get off his back. He's doing okay.
Oh, we'll be okay. No, don't worry. We're amateurs, yeah. It's not a problem. So this thing really easy to make, really easy to regrind. Yeah, if I have to, just touch the surface and to make lines or to measure heights. For what I do, it's more than enough. I don't need precision in microns. So, and then I also made just this block, and this is a valve system. Used to be a valve system for hydraulic cylinders. You see, so they not fall down if the pressure disappears. I just made it square in the shaper. Not even the top ends. This is just belts and the work. But I have a nice square thing. So if I have, for example, this, I want to put a line on it, put it on my little surface plate, and I always have it square. Now, these cheapy little squares here, they are surprisingly well made. these things work really fine, and total cost about nothing, just a few cents, I suppose. I don't remember how much, but when you check it with a good square, this one is really square. So I think it's a nice tool, and you don't have to take too much care of it. You see, if you score it a bit, that's not a problem. Buy a new one, game over. And then I made, and I'm gonna hurt myself a bit here. I made this thing. Is my homemade surface plate with a couple of feet under it. That's all. I also have it in video. Shaper work, and as you see, the light in it, it's a nice and shiny thing. And for what I do, it's more than enough. And the fun is, if I put it down because it's too heavy, I don't have the power anymore to lift whatever things. If I make pits in it or whatever, I can put it back on the shaper whenever I want and redo the surface, and I have a new one. And it's very easy to check with the shaper. With the shaper, if the surface is really flat. So for what I do, more than enough. Of course, I have more measuring things. Sorry, but the typical square and calipers and all these things, I don't need to show, I suppose, because everyone has the same or almost. But I never use gauge blocks or all these fancy things because I don't have. I think that's a good reason not to use it. So that's, I think, about all, because I'm not really in precision work, so I don't really need precision measuring tools.
Yep.
Maybe I
Can I jump in because this won't take long?
Yeah, sure.
I'm upstairs. Yeah, I can't do this in my workshop because it's a detached workshop and I'm upstairs in the house. But I must say, looking at what Randy's got, I really do get jealous because here in Australia, it's just so hard to get anything, let alone anything of quality. We have a company here in Australia called Heron Forbes, which is a bit like Harbour Freight. And if you want anything at all, that's basically your only option, unless you can get something on eBay, like a used item. But if I typed in Mitutoyo comparator, everything I see would be in the USA, and then it's like it might cost you $200 and then $300 in shipping. So it's frustrating. The part of the problem is that Australia's manufacturing industry was all in Melbourne and Adelaide. That's where the car making industry was. And when the car making industry in Australia went away, all of that equipment got sold off, but you had to know somebody to get it. So there's a guy in Melbourne runs Eccentric Engineering. He makes those little diamond tool holders and a few other tools. I've actually got one here I'll show you later. And he's always showing you some tool that he bought at a market or an auction, or some guy around the corner had it. And it's I get really jealous because where I live is our only industry is the tourism industry, and there's just very little manufacturing at all. So I've got a 2-foot square cast iron surface plate, which I bought brand new. It's scraped, but it looks like it's been scraped by a machine. Certainly not done by a human being. And I've got a digital height gauge, which I bought on eBay, and I think it was made in Germany, but it's sort of a fairly low end sort of digital height gauge. Got a few other tools, and it's enough for me. And it's a bit like Michelle. I don't need that really precision gear. If I was doing like scraping the knee of my Bridgeport, then I'd need all that stuff. And I don't have it, and I can't do it. So, but I look at people who live in Europe and the USA and what they have access to, and it's very frustrating. So you get by with what you've got, I guess. And my hobby isn't in that really high end precision work. So I can make do with what I've got. So that's it for me. I can't show you anything.
I can come in now if you want me to.
Sure. Hold on. Let me get you up here.
Just to say a few things, I guess, a bit like Michelle and Mark as well. This is me. And, if I can make something, I do. I think it must be something about people who live in Europe. We don't like to spend our money unless we have to. So I took a pair of calipers, same as Michelle, only mine looks not as good as his. Just put it on a block to make a vertical height gauge. I couldn't understand why I could buy calipers for one price, but if we wanted a height gauge using basically the same calipers, it was like 3 or 4 times the price. So to hell with that, I just made something, and it's good enough for what I do. I managed to get a good find, which was a sort of a C grade, general workshop grade surface plate for £50 on eBay, and it looked very scruffy, but it's a good size. I can't remember the name of the maker, but it was made in Chelmsford in England, and I saw this thing on eBay, and there were 2 or 3 that looked ever so scruffy, but I thought I'd just take the risk. But then I couldn't go and collect it because we were right in the COVID lockdown, and we weren't allowed to travel for unless it was your work or some other emergency. So I had to wait about 2 months before I could go and pick it up. And I knew this guy was on eBay every day, so I just hope he hadn't sold it 3 times over. But it was good. I made a wooden top for it. So if you see my videos, I don't have, I've got a metal welding bench there, and I've got this black wooden top on this surface plate, which I use, now and again. I mean, I'm most likely to use that for something like checking the leveling of the cylinder head or something like that on a, we have small cylinder heads over here. So I'd get that on and I could check it. I picked up a Mitutoyo gauge, a car boot sale for, I think, about a tenner, £10. And that was quite good. And also there used to be a company called Mercer in the UK. They used to make these things called Mercer gauges as we knew them, but they were dial test indicator gauges, and I've got a couple of those, including one of those kind of inspection stands that we saw earlier that Randy had a thing, it looks a bit like a small drill press pedestal drill with an arm on it, and you put the gauge on there. So apart from calipers, that's essentially what I've got, because I'm like some of the others. I'm not making, aeroplane wings. It's just, you know what I do. So yeah, that's my stuff.
Well, good deal.
Bill, I'd like to show some pictures, but I can't quite figure out how to share the screen.
There should be a button at the bottom here that says share.
There is.
Yeah, there it is.
And I can go to share, and it says share screen.
Yep.
Does it open a separate window?
Well, yes, it does, but I don't know how to get to put my screen in it.
Randy will tell you. He's the expert.
Yeah, Randy and Billy's area here.
I'm experimenting. Okay, so that does it for me. So there I am.
You look good, Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, I just brought up a picture.
I don't think I have to authorize you or anything.
But I don't know how to get it
ARB.
into where I need to.
I just click the share.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do the picture or the screen?
Well, I can do it either way. I've got the picture up.
All right.
I don't know how to get it to share it.
Could you mime it? Like charades, as we call it.
If you take a piece of paper and a pencil.
Sounds like
Yeah, exactly.
first syllable.
I mean, it's showing up.
The analog system.
Here we go. What's this?
What's going on with that, Randy?
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, I was testing out the share to figure it out.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, wait, here we go. I got you. There we go. Now
said
bring
I
up
knew
your
how
image.
to do it.
I'm getting tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picture and picture and picture.
Yeah.
Well, you should have shared a window.
Steve, make sure to choose the right picture because you never know what kind of pictures you're hiding.
There you go.
There.
Oh,
Yeah.
it works.
There you go.
And
Can you
it's
see
sunny
that?
there as well?
Yeah.
Clear as day, or Steve.
Oh, okay. There we go. I see. I can't see what you're seeing now when I go over to that screen. All right. Let's see. That's actually one of the pictures that I have. That's the squareness comparator that I built, and I just have a tenths gauge on it, just experimenting with it. That particular surface plate is one that I bought on eBay, but it's a U.S. made, very heavy. It's about 3 inches thick, about 18 by 24. And I have it sitting on top of a bench, which I want to try and bring up the picture of the bench. Let's see what happens when I go there. There we go.
There it
Let's
is.
see if that comes up.
Oh, nice.
Looks like Renzetti's set up.
All right. Okay, there it is. That's actually right after I purchased that. That was one of my big extravagant purchases for the shop. And I use that as a metrology center. And the granite surface plate is actually now mounted over on the right-hand side of that bench. And I have a machinist toolbox on the top where that is sitting right now. But that whole thing is filled with my micrometers and dial indicators, all the precision thing, the pin gauges, all of that kind of stuff is all in that cabinet. So I've got everything right there. Having duplicates of many of the micrometers and vernier calipers and so on, I usually keep a set at each machine also. So it.
Sorry about that. I clicked the wrong button.
What must have been fun trying to get that cabinet at home, huh,
We've
Steve?
noticed.
Yeah, what brand of cabinet is that, Steve? That's really nice
It's
looking.
actually, well, it's similar to the one from Harbor Freight, but it's in Milwaukee from Home Depot. And to the right of that is a full Milwaukee set of bottom and top box, about the same width, that I use to replace all of my smaller roll around cabinets. But let's see if I can get one more shot up here. Now I'm going to give up on that. I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay, I should be back.
Yep.
Back with you now. All right.
I got one more to show.
Okay, is that Ding? Yep. All right. Ding, give me a second.
Okay.
Let me get you over here on Spotlight. There you go.
All right. Okay. Does anybody recognize this?
Well, I know what it is, but
Yeah, exactly.
is it one I need to recognize?
Chuck Bomarito, he did a couple of videos on restoring this for a friend, and he kind of snuck it in to me as a friend. I kind of had a suspicion, but I wasn't holding my breath. But I thank him kindly.
Does that have a flex on it?
No, it's all solid.
Wow.
And it's made in West Germany. It's pretty nice. Stand. The problem is, and I'm going to throw this out there to the group, is the bore for the indicator is an odd size. Most of our indicators are 3/8. So yeah, I need to open this bore up a little bit, and I've been
Reamer
thinking about what the best way to do that would be, and right now I'm thinking of maybe just progressively going with some different sized reamers to bring it to the final size, and just
You want to use a twist style reamer on that because it is split.
yes, yeah.
That problem is easy fixable. You put a shim between where the split is. You take this little hand screw out. You put a shim in the split, and then you put the screw back in. So of course you drill a hole in the split, so it's nice and tight and squeeze, and the reamer will take off all the material of this little shim. Of course, don't put a hardened shim in it. If it's German, I suppose it's cast iron.
It is cast iron.
The ideal should be to have a cast iron shim, the same hardness.
I'm going to set this down. It's heavy.
Yeah. If it's German, it's heavy. That's for sure.
That's
How much undersized is the hole there?
This one is Chinese. It's wide.
I probably need to open it up maybe 15 to 20,000, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I was thinking that it's not that much of a difference. There's only a few thou that you're going to have to drill it out.
And if you don't mess with it, but you buy a metric dial indicator.
Yeah, I measured every indicator that I had. I was hoping I would have one that was the right diameter, and nothing matched up.
Yeah, it's not going to be an imperial indicator. It's going to fit. It's going to be metric.
It will be a metric.
So you go get the micron, mirror or whatever, however you pronounce that name. Get the micron rendition and just put it in there for when you do your really, really fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the digital dial indicators, they'll fit in that, and then you can just push the button to go imperial.
No, yeah.
Because I've got one myself, the digital one, and it's the shaft is not 5/8.
I drug one piece that has never been out to my shop just because it's not insulated, and I'll see if I can throw my back out to get it up here on my lap. But oh boy.
Is that a coffin?
It's about that. It is about that. Oh, let's see if we can't. I can't see anything. There we go. We'll do it this way. I think you can tell by the lid what it is, but
Oh yeah.
Hell.
old school, probably 70s green Mitutoyos.
Really?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I just don't know. DJ, I don't know where you get all this stuff from, honestly.
The Rust Belt, Paul.
Yeah.
The Rust Belt.
Exactly. You come up with trucks full of stuff.
I think he only has to go like maybe a block or two from the house before he starts tripping over equipment.
It's just crazy. It's crazy, isn't it?
Over here, it's impossible to find all these things.
Yes.
Impossible.
Absolutely, it is.
I've said it before. It's 2 hours to Cleveland, 2 hours to Buffalo, 2 hours to Pittsburgh. So I've got 3 Rust Belt cities that have pretty well died mechanically. So there's always something cropping up. It's sad but true. I mean, even like you guys are familiar with STM Surplus on eBay?
Oh yeah.
I was there yesterday. I think I shared a photo of some of the stuff I grabbed. This is another one that we'll play What Should I Do With It? But it was $10. But Billy, put me big screen again, would you please?
Yeah. Come on, we're desperate to know. What is it?
Anybody figure out what this guy is yet?
Looks like a T handle for. Oh no! Wait a minute. That's a lead
It's
screw.
a lead screw.
That's a
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The tap wrench.
You
Is that for your?
Dave?
Is that for your?
What?
What's it for? What's the lead screw for?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
You have no clue.
$10 is what it was for.
All right.
I thought
Brand
it was a stereoscopic sight for a 15-inch gun.
It'll be good for something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What am I going
For
to
10
build with
bucks,
it?
yeah.
I don't know. But for $10, I'm going to make
Just-
something that slides
just for the
12
metal.
inches.
Just for the metal, if nothing else.
Yeah.
No, you
Hell,
can't.
I'm building a 250 gallon air compressor right now.
Holy
Wow.
God.
Wow.
What do you need that much volume for, Randy?
I don't.
It was-
I don't.
It was
my
probably
son-
free.
it was. It was
To blow hard.
old propane tank. And
Oh, okay.
my son needs a bigger setup, and so I had a contractor's 16 CFM compressor, on from a gas engine one, and I'm mounting it on a 250 gallon free propane tank. So,
Did you do a visual inspection on the inside of that tank?
Yeah, it's pristine.
Good. Yeah. Load it with a lot of oil because,
Thanks,
boy, if
Joe.
that rusts and blows out, you're in trouble.
No,
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
thing is in pristine shape.
Yeah. Well, propane tanks, they have a really high pressure rating.
No,
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I thought they were maybe 40 psi. That was it.
Oh, the relief valve set it. The relief valve is 275.
Whoa.
So yeah. Oh no, we're just going to run it at probably 120, 125. We're buying a 4x8 plasma table, so we need to get more air set up.
Oh, okay.
Well,
When I had my commercial shop, my automotive shop, I had a 10 horse compressor, and it was about a 120 gallon tank that we had in it. And that sat in our boiler room, but that thing just ran. We had it sitting right next to the glass bead cabinet, and it would catch up to the cabinet and shut off. So that ran the whole shop. And at one time, I had another 80 gallon on the same line that we just used for surplus storage of air. It never ran because it never caught up. It was never needed. And I ended up bringing that 80 gallon one home, but it was so old that I finally scrapped it. I was afraid that the tank might blow up.
that's
I
dangerous.
run 90 gallons receivers in my shop.
Yeah.
I've got a big receiver that I got from, used to be a soft drink factory in the town where I used to teach. And it was, the compressor pump was US, so they gave me the tank. And I got it outside the shop. And I don't know what it is in gallons, but it's probably about 5 foot long, about 2 foot diameter, standing vertically.
Oh, yeah.
I just put feet on one end of the tank, stood it up vertically so it can be undercover. When I got it, there was corrosion on the outside of the tank. And a friend of mine welded some plates over the top of that corrosion. And I guess the steel is about 1/4 of an inch thick. But I was talking to a guy who sold air compressors and lift gear and so on. And he came to the school one night and did a presentation. We were talking about water in air compressor tanks and why that was an issue. And I asked the question, why is it that with air compressor tanks, they don't need to be inspected? I'm not sure what it's like where you live, but there are no requirements to have air compressor tanks inspected and certified. And I said, what happens if they corrode through and you get a lot of pressure in there and they explode? And he said, they don't explode. Now, that could just be marketing spin. I don't know. But he claimed that what would happen is you get pinholes appearing in the steel. And he said, what will happen? He said, you'll hear an air leak. He said, you won't be able to maintain pressure in the tank. And he said, that's your warning that your tank has had it and you need to get a new one. And I know with steam boilers, they're dead keen that you have those inspected. You can't run them without certification and so on. And if a boiler explodes, that's serious. But apparently air compressor tanks, they don't fail catastrophically. So you get little pinhole leaks.
There's videos on YouTube where they had accidents with exploding compressor tanks.
Oh, really?
And I saw
seen-
one video, I don't remember who. He's playing in his workshop, and then in the background you hear this big bang, and then
Breaks
what
out the door and
was
everything.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I don't remember what channel. You see, I watch so much videos.
Catastrophic.
I think if you
Yeah,
have
you're-
this good old stuff, this solid build, indeed it will blow out, just like Mark explains. it's perfectly possible. But if you have this light build compressor tanks, I won't use them too long or at lower pressure. Here in Europe we speak in bar. For automotive we go to 13 bar. I don't know how much it is in PSI. It's a lot more.
9
If you
to
have an
13,
old
isn't it?
tank, you use it at maybe half of pressure, you will be fine. But be careful, tanks can blow. I have here an old, for me, old compressor is 120 liters. I don't use it anymore. All I have to do is fix the motor and it could work again. But it's an old one and I don't trust it.
Yeah.
So now I have this small oilless thing, and for me that's enough. The problem is the noise, because these little toy compressors is terribly noisy. It's, my little mule just marked here 13 bar 188 psi. So thanks.
I was just thinking about that comment, Mark, about the people worry about steam boilers. They don't seem to worry quite so much about compressors. And I was just thinking about it, and if I remember correctly, when water is heated under pressure, it can run. You can heat it well beyond the point where it would normally turn to steam in the atmosphere. So it's actually the pressure that's keeping the water as water, if you like. Because I think there'll be 100,000 people now will tell me I'm wrong. As far as I know,
That's just glycol induced
including
water.
you lot.
Yeah.
Most of what's in a steam boiler, in the water that's in there, it's nearly all water, apart from a section above, like where you draw steam.
Yes and no.
If the pressure fails, you're going to. Let me tell you this wrong story, and you can put it. So when the pressure drops suddenly, all of that water can immediately turn to steam and expand massively.
That's correct.
I think. But Michelle, put me right, will you?
No, I remember
because
that.
at normal pressure, water boils at 100 degrees C. Yeah?
Right.
But in a steam boiler, the temperature is much higher because of the pressure. And if you have a sudden pressure release, of course, all this water will start boiling at the same time, which makes a very big bang.
Right.
Not like air is just expanding. It's also a big bang, but a bit less big.
Yes.
I remember there was an article in. Sorry.
I worked on steamship. I'm a licensed chief engineer, steam engineer, and the water, boiler is extremely dangerous. The water will expand 1,750 times its volume upon release.
Wow.
So, if it's as long as it's above boiling, as long as it's anyway. Above saturation pressure. Anyway.
I think there was an article in the British Model Engineer magazine many years ago, and they talked about boiler explosions. And there was somebody who was qualified. He said that when a boiler ruptures and the pressure reduces, it immediately causes an increase in pressure. And people went mad. They were writing in letters and saying, how can that possibly be? But it's exactly what Randy said. You've got this water, superheated water under pressure. When the boiler ruptures, all of that water becomes instant energy, and it just expands a massive amount. And what happens in the rupture is that's metal blowing out, but then all of that increased pressure inside the boiler will further destroy the boiler. Will blow tubes out and rivets and who knows what. So yes, steam and water under pressure is insanely dangerous. And a friend of mine, he worked in the steam power generation industry, and he said when they walked along inspecting the pipes, he said they'd carry a candle in front of them, because he said if you had a leak between two flanges, he said you can't see the steam. It's so hot that it won't form this white cloud of vapor. And he said all you can hear is this like a thin whistle. But he said if you walk firebait, it'll just cut your arm off. So they just carry this little candle along, and if there was a leak in front of them, they'd get some warning.
On a stick, presumably a candle on a stick.
That's it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You got,
Safety first. huh?
you guys see, superheated steam is extremely dangerous. But on something like that, you have to be very, very close to it for it to hurt you or cut off a finger or whatever. You have to be very close. If you ran your hand along the flange where the leak was, yes, you're going to get hurt. But it's also at about 750 degrees. Yeah. I worked around it for 30 years. It's not, if you're a foot away from it, there's going to be a hot blast of steam coming out, but it's not going to kill you or maim you or anything like that. But if you ran your hand near it, like right along the flange or something, yeah, you could get hurt. But
I learned about it the hard way when I was young and removed the radiator cap from the Huddleston.
there you
Oh,
go.
right.
Oh, we've all done
There you
that.
go.
Yep.
All done that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And even more than
It's
one.
cool enough.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Never do that.
And on every radiator cap, it's marked. And then now you have in every car this yellow sticker warning. Yeah, that's for the others. For me, I will be fine.
That's why they have the half stop.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
won't blow off. It blows the water all over.
Yes,
You
yeah.
get
Yeah,
scalded.
absolutely.
They didn't have that back in 1970, though.
Yeah, they had
No warnings and no half stop.
Yeah.
It went
in European cars, you can be sure they had it. I have a tractor from 57. Have it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you turn a quarter turn about, and then the pressure will release downwards. Now that's
So
the
I
theory.
see Phil made a comment. You guys from Almost Machining. And if you don't know Phil works at a nuclear power plant.
Oh.
And he mentioned about 650 at 2200 psi. So your big, that's supercritical pressure, and so the steam is not really steam anymore. It's off. No, really, it's not. It becomes actually like a plasma, and that's how it's treated at that pressure and stuff. So that's even more dangerous.
Yeah, when you get to a certain point, there's really not much difference between the water and the steam. They basically become the same property.
Well, the steam is, to get the steam that high and that high a temperature, it has to become superheated, and that steam has to be separated from the liquid. If the steam is in contact with the liquid, it's only going to go to saturation temperature and pressure, whatever pressure you have it at. But once you separate the steam and then superheat it, then it becomes when you get it to 2200 psi. Actually, it's like 1300 something psi. A lot of power.
I didn't know that. So
It becomes more like a plasma.
learn something
Different
here.
properties. Supercritical steam, supercritical boilers, they're total different operating parameters.
I sat on the phone for probably an hour with Phil, having pretty much a closer to similar conversation. I'm like, it's cool power, but man, one thing goes wrong and all hell just broke loose. Like.
Well, a nuclear power plant that uses steam, the nuclear reactor is just like the boiler part. That's all it is. It's the boiler, and then the rest is really conventional steam
there's
power
nothing-
plant.
And there's nothing novel about the back end of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-oh, I hear a train.
He's got a phone call.
So I don't know what happened to Chuck, but we were doing some seagulling today, and we removed the small bridge crane by hand. We brought it down and loaded it onto the guy's truck. Yeah, so it was 4 of us doing it, and kind of an interesting project.
What was the load rating on this crane that 4 of you were able to move?
It was all homemade, so there was no load ratings, and it used a 4-inch like an H style beam that had wall thickness maybe 1/4 inch, and the two main rails were about 16 feet long, and the cross rail was about 12 feet. And we were able to bring it down a little at a time, set it on top of some ladders, and then 4 of us walked the beams down the ladders and then out the door and onto the truck rack. Yeah.
I want to show something else before we get run out of time here.
Go for it.
I recently started playing around with some sheet metal work, and I managed to use just about every freaking tool in the shop making this thing. Let me blow myself up here.
You know, James made this look a lot easier, Billy.
You're absolutely right. He did. He made it look way easy. All right, so this is a little box that I made, complete with the switch. And some of y'all might recognize what this is for. My green screen's kind of messing with it.
I was gonna say your Bridgeport's getting mad at you there.
Yeah, well. So I used the laser cutter to cut out a wood template for the plasma cutter. Put the sheet metal down and use the wood template to cut around it. Use 2x72 belt sander to clean it up a little bit. Use the sheet metal brake. Use the spot welder. Use the MIG welder. Use the grinders. Use the Bridgeport drill and tap the 4 holes for the plate. Use the jigsaw to cut out the hole for the plate for the switch. I'm forgetting something else that I used.
You know, you can 3D print that.
I did not. No 3D printing in this one. Oh, I
Yeah, just the switch. Just the switch was 3D printed.
I think you need a shaper.
Yeah. So you haven't told us what it is yet, Billy.
Well, let me get back over here to this. There we go. It is the. We had a parts washer that somebody had dug up from Harbor Freight that was missing the pump, and I had a smaller parts washer from Harbor Freight that used the same pump, but it was made out of plastic, and I inadvertently used brake cleaner in it and melted it to crap. But I had the pump, so I decided to make the replacement housing for this parts washer and put the pump in there. So that's what I did, which leads me to my next question: is what is everybody using in the parts washer for their cleaning solution? I've got some Zep degreaser.
That's what I use. I use the Zep Purple or the Purple Power.
Same here. Same here.
I don't resort to solvent unless there's no other choice. I try to use the water-based stuff first.
Okay.
I think if you go have a look at the automotive parts, things, websites, I'm sure that they will have all this stuff. Not far from here, there's a store, and they do auto parts, but also everything around, of course, like welders and cleaners, and I'm sure that they have the right stuff, and they can explain exactly what you need and don't need. Because there's also the second problem: when you don't need it anymore, what do you do with this chemical waste? If you have a good way to get rid of it, it's not a problem. But I think that's a very important question. Before doing something, think a bit also the waste.
I'm very tempted to
I'm
wind
not
you
an
up about
eco-activist, but if I can do it without pollution, I prefer, even if it's a bit more expensive. That's my idea, of course. I don't think it's everyone's idea, but that's mine.
Yeah, I'll cook it in a crock pot for small parts. Man, they come out just like they were in a hot tank.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we
Amazing.
got about 5 seconds here till we end.
Let me
this
show you
stream.
this video really
We can
quick.
be
Billy,
rude.
Billy,
Let's just
zoom in
keep
on me
going.
if you can.
All right, 1 sec. There you go.
All right, here we go.
What is that?
That's that bridge crane.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Is that going in? Is that going in truck shop?
Vince Elder.
Oh, oh yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
sweet score.
Nice.
And it's that beam is skewed to line up with the equipment.
Hmm.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for the broadcast. Those of you who are on the panel can stay on and chat for a little bit longer. The rest of y'all guys.
Thank you, Billy, for putting this up.
Yeah.
Harold,
You
thanks.
did good, Bill.
Thank
Good
you
job,
very much.
Everyone.
Good job.
Look for us next time, folks.
I know Harold's watching. Hi, Harold.
Hey, Harold.
Hey, Harold. Hey,
Bye.
Hey,
Harold.
okay,
feeling
well,
better, bud?